This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. General Motors has ambitious goals to sell 1 million electric vehicles in North America in 2025. The automaker is on pace to sell just 44,000 EVs this year in the U.S. But Bloomberg reports that CEO Mary Barra will tell investors later this week that GM's EV lineup will be profitable by 2025, and will share details about how they will make that happen. Barra will also reveal how GM will cover investments in battery plants and assembly while boosting margins for its Ultium batteries. GM's EV push will really start ramping up next year when Chevy will launch electric versions of the Silverado, Blazer, and Equinox. VTOLs, or vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, continue to make progress. Last week, France opened a VTOL hub in Paris with the goal of starting flights in time for the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. And now the Hyundai Group has signed a memorandum of understanding to create a VTOL, or what it calls an advanced air mobility ecosystem, in Indonesia. The project will begin with demonstrations and test flights in the city of Nusantara, Indonesia's future capital city that replaces Jakarta in 2024. And based on the success of this project, Hyundai will expand its services regionally and then globally. Ford is giving customers the chance to save money on car insurance as long as they're willing to give up a little bit of their privacy. The automaker is partnering with Cerebrum X to use connected vehicle data to monitor driving behavior, which insurers can use to create policies for the owner. The connected vehicle tech provides more accurate and reliable driving data, plus no additional hardware or apps are needed. The service, which customers must opt into, is available to Ford and Lincoln vehicles with connected car technology. So, the safer you drive, the less you'll have to pay for insurance.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility. Manufacturing smarter. Reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
Would you let other people drive your car for a little over $215 or 208 euros a month? That's what private owners earned on Škoda's peer-to-peer car-sharing platform between July and October of this year. Called Happy Go, it allows private owners to sign up their vehicle for the service, and then other people can rent it. The idea is you can get access to the type of vehicle you need when you need it. While Škoda doesn't say how many times a vehicle was rented out to earn that amount, it says the average rental lasts just under 5 days. Happy Go offers brands outside of Škoda as well and operates in the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Poland with around 180,000 users. To us, fuel cell applications seem to make the most sense for big commercial vehicles. And while companies like Toyota that are involved in this space don't even know themselves when the technology will replace diesel, it admits it might not be until 2027 or 2028, they are preparing for that day. After wrapping up a years-long pilot at ports in California, Toyota is going to start production of fuel cell modules for heavy-duty applications next year at its plant in Kentucky. It says the fuel cell trucks used in the pilot tests had a range of 300 miles, but it expects that newer versions will get closer to 400 miles. And with bigger tanks, that could go even higher. If a refueling network can be built, there could be a real market for these trucks. Heavy-duty commercial vehicle maker Kenworth, who partnered with Toyota on the test, says there's less than 1,000 zero-emission trucks being produced today. But by 2030, it thinks that will climb to more than 70,000 and then to over 180,000 in 2040. Speaking of fuel cells, Cummins, which is famous for its diesel engines, announced a partnership with India's Tata Motors to design and develop hydrogen-powered internal combustion engines, fuel cells, and battery electric systems. Those zero-emission solutions will be put into Tata commercial vehicles, but they didn't say when that would start happening. The Renault Group says it launched the first industrial metaverse. What does that mean? It has fully connected all of its production lines and most of its supply chains so it can create a virtual world of its entire manufacturing footprint and control it in real time. For example, each facility has its own virtual twin, and if Renault wanted to prep that facility for a new vehicle, it could work out all the issues in the virtual world before applying it to the factory floor. And it expects big benefits from the industrial metaverse. By 2025, it will save Renault 320 million euros in various areas, plus 260 million euros in inventory savings, a 60% reduction in vehicle delivery times, a 50% lower carbon footprint in manufacturing, and will contribute to reduced warranty costs.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Buick no longer sells sedans in its home market, but China's a different story. Remember that beautiful Wildcat concept car that Buick unveiled earlier this year? Well, it turns out that's the inspiration for the next generation of the Buick LaCrosse, which is sold in China. It probably won't have that same fastback roofline like the concept car, but the front-end styling is probably what will go into production. Inside, the new LaCrosse will have the same screen on the instrument panel as the Buick GL8 Century minivan, which we think is also impressive from a styling standpoint. EV startups often live on the ragged edge, but always have that never say die attitude. Arrival, the UK startup, warned investors this month that it only had enough cash on hand to last about a year. But Auto Forecast Solutions reports that Arrival is scheduled to start making an electric van in North Carolina starting in January of 2024. And Faraday Future is trying to raise another $350 million to get its FF91 electric car into production. Auto Forecast says it's scheduled to start sending cars down the line next April. So, the race is on. Both these companies are in a mad scramble to get the money that they need to fire up their assembly plants. But the clock is ticking. The war in Ukraine isn't going the way that Vladimir Putin thought it would go. That's because the Ukrainians have proven to be far more adaptable and innovative than the Russians ever believed they could be. And here's a good example. Ukrainian soldiers took some kind of right-hand steer two-door hatchback, tore off the doors and fenders, welded on a big grill guard, and removed the rear hatch to make room for a machine gunner. But what the heck is the car that they used? That's what Autoline viewer Mike Novak wants to know. He sent this to us, and now we want to use the collective wisdom of all of you to figure out what it is. Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, and the US DOT has concluded a connected vehicle test program that started in 2015, and we find some of the results pretty interesting. This was done using vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure warnings on an expressway in Florida. Data shows the program prevented 21 potential pedestrian crashes, delivered 19 red light violation warnings, avoided 17 potential vehicle collisions, alerted 14 wrong-way drivers, and issued over 20,000 safety advisories. At first, that didn't seem like all that much to us, but then we remembered this is just one stretch of road in Florida. Imagine if it was spread out across the entire country. Yesterday, we asked you if the US should scrap the CCS charger for EVs and just adopt Tesla's system. It wasn't a scientific poll or anything like that, but based on your comments, most of you think that Tesla's plug-in charging system is the way to go. So thanks for all your feedback, and with that, we wrap up today's Autoline Daily.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Scheffler, we pioneer motion.